Welcome. I'm Amber, the Essential Wellness Coach, sharing exceptional living through hope and essential oils. And in this video, I'm going to be speaking of wild orange. So what I'll be sharing is the physical properties to help the body systems, the emotional aspects that it helps support, as well as some scriptural connection. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to cover is the 3 different ways that you can use wild orange. So one is you can use it topically. You can use it internally, and you can use it aromatically. I'll go into detail about each one of those. So topically, let's start there. So with wild orange, you can apply that on your body. That's what topical means. And so when you apply it onto your skin, you still have effects because it goes into the bloodstream, but also you become your own diffuser, which means that you can smell it because of your body temperature. It now becomes like this part of you that continues to radiate the smell. That's also part of aromatic, but topically is what we're on right now. So one word of caution that I want to address when using wild orange topically is that it has a tendency to cause photosensitivity to the skin. So what does that mean? So it means if you put the oil on your skin and that skin gets exposed to the sun and the UV rays, that means it has a tendency to enhance the UV part, and potential can cause like an intense sunburn. So there's a word of caution when you use not only wild orange, but any citrus oil for that matter. So if you do use it on your skin, you want to either make sure that that area is covered up and protected from the sun, or that you have you're away from exposing that skin area for at least 12 to 72 hours. So that's a word of caution when you use it topically. The other part is using it internally. So not all oils are intended to be used internally. So there are certain brands that you are able to, and the brand that I know, like, and trust is doTERRA. So this is the oil that I am speaking to, that you can use it internally. And I have a bottle right here of the wild orange that you are able to confirm whether this is an ingestible oil or not is because it has a supplement fact on the label. So hopefully you can see that once it gets zoomed in, which it's not calibrating. But in any event, if this supplement fact is on the bottle, if I go in closer, else it's not wanting to zoom. I'm sorry, but hopefully you get maybe if I have it up here. Oh, there it goes. Okay, hold on, we'll zoom in slow. There we go. There it is. So if you notice on the bottle of a doTERRA bottle that it has the supplement fact on it, it is guarded as safe to use internally. So, and I'll address why you'd want to use it internally versus topically. And then thirdly is to use it aromatically. So I touched a little bit about it when I was speaking of topically, but it means to actually smell it. So you can do that several different ways, whether you just take off the top and smell it from the bottle. You can apply a drop to your palm of your hands and rub your palms together, inhale it that way, or they have these devices called diffusers, which is a cold misting system that breaks it up into tiny particles and disperses it into the air, which changes the atmosphere when you go in to any environment, okay? And it helps purify the air as well as emotionally kind of change the environment. So that's those 3 ways that you can use that. And so the scent of wild orange is very familiar. I'm sure almost everyone can relate and imagine the smell of wild orange when I speak of it. So it is a very common and popular scent. It's fresh, it has a citrusy smell, it's fruity, and it's sweet. So a couple different things about the wild orange is that when you go to use it, it is pretty liquid. So just when you go to drop it, it comes out pretty quickly. And you can't really tell, but there is a slight orange tinge to it. So if you are wearing light or white clothing, you want to make sure that it does not come in contact with the clothing because it may leave that orange tint on there. Another word of caution, not only with using it on your skin and subjecting it to the sun's rays, but also with not only wild orange, but any citrus oil for that matter, is to use it when you use it internally. If you are putting it in your drinking vessel, you want to make sure that it is either of glass or stainless steel or ceramic. So you don't want to have your water or sparkling water with your citrus essential oil in a plastic container or anything that has the plastic coating lining inside, because what it does is it breaks down that plastic, and then what happens, it's in your water, and then you ingest it, and here you are trying to detoxify yourself, and you're actually introducing more toxins into your system. So that is some of those key aspects of just the condition of the oil itself. So now I want to go into the emotional properties of it. And so this is one of those oils that supports emotional balance, and it addresses a lot of emotional issues. And the balance part of it, and the think of this oil as if you're working on having limited mindsets, or if you have the tendency to think that there's not enough, or there's a scarcity type of mindset, like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough food, or just limited to thinking that things are small and that there's no way out, that you'll want to introduce this into your personal development, working through stuff, through your emotional work, through your spiritual work, because there is more than that limitation, okay? And so wild orange is like, think of it as the wild orange groves, and how there's just rows and rows and rows of trees that have hundreds of fruit hanging off of that one tree, but yet that whole line of grove trees, there's hundreds of trees, and then there's hundreds of rows, and so it's just a multitude. So think of wild orange as creating that space for more, and that there's it goes beyond that small thinking and that small limitation. So if you find that you're stuck, whether it's stuck in that mindset, or you're stuck with, you're working on a project and you need looking for some more creativity, and you feel like you're just kind of going around the same bush, then wild orange may be an oil that you want to go to, and it helps with problem solving, and then just before you know it, you have a solution right there before you. So wild orange is beautiful to work with fear also. So obviously, going back to the limited mindset and to the scarcity, there is fear that is a component there. If you have anxiousness, worry, a nervousness, things to that nature, this is going to help support that. And everything right now is kind of like, oh, sparkling joy. If you're on that cleaning kick, then you bring this in and introduce joy into your heart and into your mind. And this helps create that kind of carefree living and bring you back to that fun and uplifting type of spirit in you. So any citrus oil is going to have that aspect of that uplifting, mood boosting type of component to it, which is beautiful because all citrus oils have that boosting aspect to it. Okay, and thirdly, I'm going to go into what it offers the body on a physical level. So there's components of emotional, and there's components of physical, and then also I address and bring in biblical connection. So that will be next. But for right now, let's talk about some of the physical supports. So the systems that I want you to think of when you think of wild orange are digestive, the skin, and the immune. So right off the bat, when we talk about digestive, for those of you who have a good imagination and like to have something to kind of anchor in memory to think about and to remind you, Imagine that you have a whole orange and that you try and ingest the whole orange and you just like and swallow it. You're going to have some digestive issues, right? Because it's hard for your body to break down a whole orange without chewing on it. So think of that as wild orange helping and supporting digestive sluggishness. Or if you need help supporting like as a tonic, then that is how wild orange helps support. Also, going into immune system, most commonly we'll go for vitamin C, right? And where do we get that? Sometimes it is from oranges. So oranges help support immunity. So grab your wild orange and think that, oh, that's going to help support my immune system when it's compromised, depending on the type of the season or, of stress levels and whatnot, it's going to help support and boost the immune system. And then you think of your skin. So wild orange is actually extracted from the rind itself. It's cold pressed, so which means the oil is extracted from the rind itself and not the fruit, and does not have fruit juice in it. So it is, so think about the peel, and that you can, and the body system that it can help with is the skin itself. So with detoxifying and things to that nature, okay? So hope those little tips help. Remember, trying to eat a whole orange, that helps support the digestive. You think of vitamin C, oh, that helps support my immune system. Or you think of the outside of the rind, oh, that's for my skin. So I hope those little tips help. Okay, and then fourthly, I'm going to speak of biblical connections. So this anchor verse, which is Psalms 50:10, and this is going to be going to relate back to the emotional support that this oil brings to you. And what Psalms 50:10 speaks of is, for every animal of the forest is mine, is what the Lord is speaking of, and that the cattle on 1,000 hills. So what comes to mind when you think of all the animals in the forest are mine, or his? That is a lot of animals. We're talking a multitude of animals, a countless amount of animals. Same with the cattle on the 1,000 hills. Well, what does that look like? Well, I don't know, because there's so many. So thinking of that scripture and having that as an anchor scripture to this oil, and thinking that what you want to work on is, if it is limitations and limited mindsets or that scarcity component, think of wild orange and think of Psalms 50:10 as just the possibility to open up so much more. And just, if you're at that roadblock, pull it out, smell it, put it on, pray about it, use this verse, and just meditate on what that means, and ask him for clarity and ask him for help to remove those limited mindsets. So you can definitely integrate these oils into working out those limited mindsets. All right, so those are the 4 areas I wanted to cover. So the price on this oil, if you're buying at retail, is $13.33, plus there's tax and shipping. Also, if you have a wholesale account through doTERRA, then it's $10 plus shipping and tax as well. So if you don't have wild orange and you're interested in purchasing it, you can purchase it at www.mydoterra.com/upscale for life. That's if you want to purchase it retail. There's also, and you go up to the shop tab, there's also the option on that page to create your own wholesale account. And that's where you can get up to 25% off in a discount, okay? So if you want some more information on how to purchase, look in the video description and I'll have my link there. But before we leave, there's some other tips that I want to tell you about using wild orange and the way that I've used it. So a couple of the different ways I've used it and love it internally is by putting it in my smoothie. If I have a fruit smoothie, you can enhance the fruitiness of it by adding orange essential drops to it. You could do 2 to 3. Another yummy, fresh, fruity way to jazz up your plain Greek yogurt is, again, put about 2 drops in your yogurt, stir it up, and if you use honey or agave syrup or just granola and fruit, then that just adds just a little bit of that hint and flavor into it too. I've also heard of people using it in their brownie mix. I have not tried that yet, but it sounds delicious. Orange and chocolate, yum. And then also, if you want to use it in your diffuser, I would recommend trying it with a balance. Balance is also known as the grounding blend, so you could do a couple drops of each of those oils. You could do wild orange and peppermint, which is that is definitely an uplifting and energizing combination, is the wild orange and the peppermint. If you do the balance and the wild orange, that is a more calming type of oil, and so that would be great to use it in your child's room. And it has a great calming aspect to it. In fact, I used it for my middle son. He would experience anxiety when he would go to the dentist. So what I would do prior to him going to the dentist, I would apply some on his chest. And then once we actually got into the dentist office, I was able to go with him, and I would have the bottle there as he was waiting for the doctor to arrive, let him smell it from the bottle, but then also reapply back to his chest. And it absolutely works. He was able to calm down and not have any negative repercussions from feeling anxiety from having a procedure done, or something to that nature. So that pretty much wraps up wild orange, and for its emotional use, its physical use, and some biblical ties and connections there that I will bring in and using and for applying as well. And if you don't, as I mentioned, don't have this oil, you're recommended to check out my link in the bio, or if you're interested in learning more information about getting your 25% off wholesale account, you can email me at Amber